Come to Helmuth Ford, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Hi, this is Stacy from Shuttler Insurance Services. Come see me on the east side of the square in Sigourney for all your insurance needs.
Skunk River Radio, country music from 1990 through 2010 with some Iowa country music sprinkled in. Listen at skunkriverradio.com, download the app, listen on Alexa by saying, Alexa, play Skunk River Radio on TuneIn. Skunk River Radio will also be available on Google Assistant in the near future. You can listen to me, Steve Shuttler, each weekday morning from 6 a.m. to noon, and listen to The Haze from noon to 6 p.m. Skunk River Radio, online radio for country music from 1990 to 2010.
Welcome to this edition of Morgan You Asked For podcast. Tuesday night, 9:45, a little later than normal, but it kind of worked out. I just got back from Omaha this evening. I was at the College World Series for a few days. Great event. Anybody here in the Midwest? Trev, you've been there, haven't you? Or not?
I've not been to the College World Series, but I've been to this by the stadium plenty of times. I've never actually went to the World Series, though, but it looked like you had a good time. How was it?
It was good. Good games, good teams. 4 of us went over and then took our sons and then a couple friends of team members of Tyler's. It was fun. Real good. Just lots of stuff to do. And then just, they're 12-year-old boys watching, try to see how they do things differently and why they're playing there. And their careers aren't over yet. Obviously, a lot of it's natural ability, but the steps they take, the things they do, make them better as well.
Yeah, it looked like a fun time. Owen Bohr was there. I think he said he saw you at one point.
Yep.
Maybe. So, yeah, that's one of those big events I'd like to get to. I mean, with it being in Omaha, I'm surprised I've never gone just randomly to check it out. But it looks awesome. Everybody that I hear that goes to it every year or anytime, they have a blast. So it's it's a great tournament. It's cool. It's in Omaha. It's not far from where we live or where we grew up. So it's definitely one of those bucket list places that I need to get to, even though it's really close. I'm, surprised I've never been to it.
And that was the first time I've been at the new stadium. I went to Rosenblatt in high school a couple times, and even in college, I watched the last time I was there. This is how old I am and how long it was. Mark Pryor was pitching for USC. I was in freshman or sophomore in college. I can't remember what year it was for sure, but you go back and look right around 2000, 99, 2000 season, whatever it was. And it was at Rosenblatt, which is right by the zoo. Zoo bought it, whatever, and now they built the new one downtown. Real nice. Everything's, just exactly how you want it to be. Perfect. Well, we did get rained out last night, and then they finished the game this morning at 10 o'clock. And then, so that was UCLA and LSU. LSU fans are absolutely nuts. That's not a surprise. They want every call, every pitch, and it got a little annoying, but if my team was there, I'd probably be similar. And then so LSU won that game, finished this morning, and then since UCLA lost, they're playing right now against Arkansas, who threw a no-hitter and actually was one batter away from a perfect game. He hit a batter. Other than that, a perfect game. Had 19 strikeouts out of 27. So that was first no-hitter since 1960, and there had never been a perfect game. So we saw history, almost saw incredible history. And then, but that's a tough turnaround when you just finish a game at 1 o'clock this afternoon and you're playing again at 6. It's not all those guys grew up playing USSSA ball that Tyler's doing right now where you do that, but you don't do that in college and really in high school, except for a couple tournaments where you might play twice in a day. Or if you do it, it's back to back. It's not you play, sit, play. That's just not really how it works in college and high school baseball too often.
Definitely a tough turnaround. How many teams are left now at this point?
So UCLA was down 7-0. So I'm going to assume they lost. It was still going when I turned it on here. So there's going to be Coastal Carolina and LSU were 2-0. Louisville beat Oregon State, and then there's going to be 4 left. So.
The Final Four, yeah. and that there was a big underdog, right? I saw a bunch of people.
Murray State.
Murray State.
They're the team that got no hit, and that ended their season yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, that's too bad. I saw Dave Portnoy put a big bet on them to win it all. Obviously, that's not going to happen now. But it was pretty cool. I thought I saw some picture of their stadium where they play at.
Yep.
800 people. Compared to all the different stadiums that the big dogs all play at, and it's pretty impressive that they made it that far, though.
And that just, you see those, like when St. Peter's made the Elite Eight, just their budget and what they're paying their coach and just everything. It's just not the same. It's a true, 15-2 to get Murray State there. And they made it, and they made the run, and that's all you can do. They maxed their team. Yes, it would have been awesome to win a game at the World Series. Just wasn't in the cards this year.
No, still a great season for them, and glad you got to go. Like I said, I see Owen goes every year, it seems like, and he's got customers.
Yeah, he invited us over to the tailgate, had a couple beers. One of the guys he was there with, or somebody was, I would assume, a Louisiana fan. He had a Southern accent, and we had peeled shrimp and crawfish and a couple beers, and so it was a good time.
There you go. Yeah, you had some good Southern food, and got to experience LSU and their fans. And I see the Jello shot tracker that is famous online for all the different teams. So it looks like a lot of fun.
That place is absolutely nuts. Like we didn't even try to go. Now, obviously, there was 4 adults and 7 kids, so it wasn't like we were going to go hang out there. But it's like you don't even. It's just a line at all times.
Each fan base is trying to bump up their numbers, is what it is.
Right. All right, and now let's get to the topic at hand. Like I said, I just got home not that long ago, so I did not see this. I've seen some highlights and pictures, but I'm going to give it over to you as a fan of Caitlin Clark, as a fan of the Fever, and as a WNBA fan. Your thoughts, ideas, prevention measures, who's at fault, maybe no one's at fault, what is going to happen in the future?
Well, first of all, wax on, wax off, Caitlin Clark to the rest of the league. The one thing I've noticed, the Iowa fans, the Caitlin Clark fans, we've been shunned for about a year and a half now, from Gina Ori to Emma to the WNBA players, the ex-players, ESPN, saying we were delusional that Caitlin Clark was going to come in and run this league. Well, that's exactly what's happening. But anyway, to tonight, it was physical from the very beginning. J.C. Sheldon was guarding Caitlin Clark when she could. Obviously, she had to go to the bench a lot because she doesn't have the stamina that Clark does, or the game, or the mental capacity. So she was off and on the court, which was expected. I think she finished with a career-high 2 points tonight, so good for her. There was a brawl there in the third quarter, and Marbury did not get thrown out of the game. She probably should have. The biggest problem I have is it felt like it took 15 or 20 minutes for the refs to make a decision. And then at the end of the game, you have the big brawl with Sophie Cunningham throwing JC to the ground. Sophie will probably never buy another meal in the state of Iowa as long as she lives. She's now a new hero for Iowa fans. But it was great to see. But at the end of the day, it's really on the refs. They didn't take control of the game in the third quarter when this was going on. Like I said, Marbury should have probably been thrown out. She wasn't, and things escalated from there. And that's why you see sometimes in basketball games where the refs do have to take control. You've reffed basketball games before. Obviously, stuff like this doesn't happen at lower levels really, but sometimes you do have to take control of the game and get players, put them in their spot. And that didn't happen tonight. And we saw what happened at the end, I think, with like 30 or 40 seconds left.
Yeah, the initial thing that, obviously Caitlin Clark's backing Sheldon down. Sheldon gets her across the face. Push, shove. Probably nothing comes of that. It's when Maybury or whatever, that's her name, right, comes in and shoves her down. Yeah. Marbury. And I'm like, and you were talking, and you had sent me, and I didn't know any of this, and you'd sent me, well, now we got to start with the brawl. And so I'm like, well, that's not a very good brawl. I'm like, it had to be more than that. And there was. And, it's just when you are out of it and not paying attention, it's like, what is going on? And even, you go to Twitter or whatever, and I don't know, my algorithm isn't WNBA heavy, so I'd like really search for it.
Yes,
I was
Sophie
surprised it wasn't
Cunningham.
just like up front.
Yeah, I had customers calling and texting me. I worked out during the game. I do the elliptical machine during FIFA games when I can because I get so stressed about them. So it helps me relieve some stress, I guess, when I'm watching the games. But I had a couple customers text me and call me about it, and Sophie threw her right to the ground, was ready to brawl after. The thing I told you before the season even started, I said what we saw last year was just an appetizer. It's going to be even escalated this year, and that's exactly what's happening.
And is it just the officials are so bad and so inadequately prepped and just in so much over their head, they just don't know how to handle it?
Stephanie White. So you and I tried to get started a few minutes ago, and Stephanie White just had the post-game interview with Caitlin Clark and Howard, and she went off on the refs. And she went off in the very beginning, and then the middle of the interview, she went off again. She said this league is getting better and faster every day. The players are getting better and faster. She said the only people that aren't improving are the referees.
And she's not wrong. And that's been the biggest complaint that I've seen from all the talk show, listen, watch, whatever you want to say, every person. It is a glaring problem, the officiating. Now, I don't know if they just don't pay enough, but you would think, and maybe they just don't want to do it, but like the men's college basketball referees, now they are all independent contract. They're not full-time officials. You would think if you paid them enough, they might come do this. I don't know. And maybe it's against their whatever, but there's officials out there. Obviously you're not going to get the NBA officials. They're for some of the season, they're still working and the finals are going on right now. So the best officials are working, but there's officials that it almost should be like a minor league for the NBA. For the officials that want to get to the NBA, this should be one of your steps. I don't know if it's a step right below, probably the NCAA men's basketball is a step below, but this should be one of your steps, and it should be a goal, or make it a goal this is one of your steps going up. And if you want to keep moving up, you go to the WNBA and you do a great job and you will move up.
It's not a bad idea. There was a point in the game too, and the refs being bad it's all around. It's not just against the Fever by any means. A Connecticut player slammed the ball after a foul, and they gave Connecticut a technical, and I thought it was a pretty weak call. So it goes both ways. But the point being, there in the third quarter when the first incidents really happened, Marbury Price should have been thrown out of the game. Since she wasn't, it just escalated from there. And yeah, the refs have been bad. Going back to last year, we talked about it. It feels like every 15 seconds there's a whistle, and that the flow of the game gets interrupted. And then anytime they have a review, it feels like it like I said, it feels like it takes 15 to 20 minutes. Now in reality, it probably doesn't. But when you're watching, at home on the TV, it's taken way too long. The NBA doesn't take this long. The NFL doesn't take this long. But that's what happens when you haven't had a league that makes any money in 27 years. These are some of the results of that.
Yeah, and you keep striving that. 27 years, never made money. They don't care if they make money because they know the NBA is just going to write that check to make them whole every year. And they have their golden goose. Please don't squander it. And you've stressed this over and over. They need to take someone from the NBA and move them over to be the WNBA commissioner. Again, use it as a minor league, like someone that you might want to be the next NBA commissioner. Let them go do that, or a few steps below that. And it's a good job. It's an important league, and right now it's super important. You have a chance to make money for the first time in your history as individual teams and as a league. Get the marketing right, get the everything right. And you and I both aren't the biggest NBA fans, but the NBA is more popular than almost anything except for the NFL. They've got most things figured out. The one thing they don't is the load management and playing 82 games and having your stars play. But watching the playoffs is really, really fun. because the best players are playing every night.
Yeah, the WNBA, what I like to call it now, and I gave it a fair chance for, a little over a year now, whatever it's been. The WNBA is really the UConn social club with guest passes available to South Carolina players. It's a social club. It's wine and canvas night at the Elks 340 on Thursday nights. The only difference is the paintbrush is replaced with a basketball. That's what the WNBA is. And you need a commissioner, male, female, to come in with a strong backbone to lay the law down a little bit. Now, the stuff on the court happens. Chirpiness, and I'll admit, too, I think a lot of us aren't used to seeing it from women because we haven't been watching. But if the core of basketball is trash talking and chirpiness, you can go to any local YMCA at noon, noon pickup group. These guys have been playing each other for years on their lunch breaks, and it gets chirpy. That's the nature of basketball. So the on-the-court stuff doesn't bother me as much. To an extent, it's the off-the-court stuff with a lot of the players saying they don't like the new fans and all this. If I was a commissioner, if you just randomly attack the fans for no reason, you get fined money. The quickest way to fix all these problems is getting the checkbooks of the players. You get fined.
They're not making a lot right now, so every dollar counts.
Conduct detrimental to the league, $5,000 fine. And the NFL fines players all the time. They'll fine players for their socks not being pulled up enough during a game, just to remind you who's in charge. The league,
the shield,
the owners, and it's been run like a social club. So we'll see what happens with the WNBA. They have no strong leadership right now, and if you continue to look, it's the off the court stuff that bothers me more. Like, quit trashing the fans. Why would you do that? And escalate the fines. Another thing I would do to fix part of the problem when you have players complaining about the new fans coming in, which is us, is you can't do it by total attendance because everybody has a different arena in different capacity. But what you could do is you could take all the arenas and figure out what the home capacity is percentage-wise.
Yep.
And let's just say it's 60%. I'm just making that number up. Well, if your home attendance falls below 60% capacity for more than 2 home games, players start getting their pay deducted that percentage on their next paycheck. And maybe that'll get the players to, first of all, shut up about the fans. And second of all, maybe get out there and try to get fans to come to the games. Maybe some of these teams and these players need to have, meet and greets the day before a game outside the arena. You can sell merchandise, do it for 2 or 3 hours, have, all these people waiting in line for pictures and autographs, and the first 500 get a free entry to the game. I mean, not all leagues are created equal, and not all businesses are. And 2 things can be true at the same time. Women have not had the runway that men have had in sports. That can't be argued. They weren't allowed to play sports for a long time. And when they were shunned upon, which is unfortunate. But the other truth is, like I said, they've had 27 years to make profit, and they haven't done it. So it's a little bit on them too, at the end of the day.